Have a listen to this. Have a listen to this.
Interest rates are higher. I know people don't like that, but you should be welcoming the stronger economy.
And maybe a deal has a point about the machinery of capitalism being oiled with the blood of the workers.
The United States is a country that has always paid all of its bills.
Lannister always pays his debts.
Don't let the bastards get you.
Hello and welcome to Comedian versus Economist. My name's Adam and we're joined as always by my little older brother and real life economist, Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
G'day, Adam. How are we going?
Going all right, thank you. Look, I don't even know how to say this. Important news. If you're driving, pull over the car. If you're jogging, slow down. If you're gardening, put down the trowel and step away slowly. It's with some sadness, but also some optimism. This is going to actually be it for CVE. This is the end of Comedian versus Economist. I know that'll come as a shock and as a surprise and literally zero notice to all of our listeners out there. And for that, I'm a bit sorry because it's not sort of how we wanted to go out. But I guess some background to this is we're probably looking at taking a break yet again for school holidays. And yeah, I think Thomas and I, we've sort of been here before and long-time listeners of the show would know that we took a break last year. We had quite a bit of time off and then I coaxed Thomas back out of retirement to come and do the show again. And we came up with a new format and a new approach to the show. But it's just got to the point, to be honest, where we just can't quite make it every week. We can't give the show the attention that it needs. We can't give it the time commitment. I think that's fair to say, Thomas. We can't give it the time commitment that you need to do to keep producing a quality show, one that you'll enjoy and one that we can be proud of making. And so yeah, this is actually the final Comedian versus Economist. And I know we've said that before, but this is actually the last one. So that's where we're starting this week. We do have a little bit of stuff for you this week. It's not just completely the end, but yeah, Thomas, do you have anything to add to any of that?
No, I think that sums it up right. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to make. I mean, I think Adam and I love doing the show together. Once we start recording, we have a wonderful time, but the prep and everything else, if I can speak for myself.
We do talk a lot of economics though. I like the feel-good interest stories we have at the end, but leading up to that,
Not the way through.
No, it's true.
No, it's a bit of prep and kind of doesn't dovetail with a lot of other stuff going on in our lives. So
yeah. And I think it's a lot of work to grow a show like this. You know, we were really fortunate to have partnered up with Equity Mates early on. We got a real boost right out of the blocks. We sort of launched Equity Mates, Bryce and Alec. Can't thank those guys enough. But they helped us launch the show. They launched it into their existing listener base. And so we were really lucky to have, you know, a ton of listeners right off the bat. Most podcasts don't get that opportunity. And yeah, a lot of you out there, you stuck around. You've got some data here, Thomas, on the sort of user numbers, but we have about, just to draw back the curtain a little bit, we've got about 3,000 people that tune in every week, thereabouts, maybe a few more that catch up as days and weeks go by for each ep. But yeah, around about that number, which is pretty amazing. Like, that's incredible. I didn't think we'd ever be talking regularly to that many people. So yeah, that's really cool. But then to grow the show beyond that, it's just going to take a lot more effort, a lot more time, a lot more commitment. Social media, which is its own beast. And look, I'm not going to lie, Thomas has a digital age of about 85 years old. So he's not much help. But it just takes time to put together Instagram Reels. It takes time to put together. I started doing YouTube stuff, and that's just another thing. And there's only so many times you can miss your daughter's soccer game because you're at home editing a video podcast that's going to be seen by about 46 people. So, you know, but that's what it takes to grow. And so we probably just don't have the time with families and resources to do that. So, yeah, but we're super proud to bring this, to bring you what we have. If you're one of those 3,000 people out there who tune in every week, then thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's amazing.
Yeah, I hope we've offered you something of value. You've learned something over the years. Hope you've learned more than Adam has over the time we've been together.
Yeah, it's fair to say not much has been taken in. And the other fascinating bit of data that was in there was the consumption rate. So do you want to talk about consumption rate, Thomas?
Well, yeah, somehow, and I don't know how they do this, they calculate how much of each show people listen to on average, and so how much they consume. I've no idea how they'd get that data, but it's a data point in the industry. And so industry average is like 70%. High-performing shows get around 80%, and we're consistently in the 90s.
Whee!
Yeah, so...
Yeah,
which and have been since the get-go, which has been really nice. It's nice to know that people listen all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, you used to say that it was because people fall asleep and forget to turn off their player.
Yeah,
Might
stand
be
by that.
Yeah.
But if that were true, we should have a lot higher because the episode would run right to the end. But yeah, no, that's again testament to you out there listening. You made it happen. So. That's amazing. I was going to say we couldn't ask for more. We probably could, some form of income from the show would be good.
Yeah.
And again, credit to the Equitymates guys who've been pretty much running the show at a loss for a while. But I should just want to touch on like Bryce and Alec, just like nicer guys you won't meet. They've been so supportive of the show, even when numbers were down after the break and we're trying to grow it again, and they stuck by us the whole time. So shout out to those guys for unwavering support, really. Anyway, so it's been a journey, a few highlights, not a lot of collaborations, it's fair to say. We did do I mentioned this to you last night, Thomas. We did do I said, remember that episode we did with The Chaser with Charles Firth, and you're like, nah. I think it's like one of 3 highlights that we've got, and you can't even remember it.
No, don't.
But that was a bit of fun. I think that was a budget episode that we did 2 years ago. That was nice to team up with Charles from The Chaser. FinFest is obviously a massive highlight. So Thomas and I, if you shout out if you were at FinFest 2 years ago, yeah, that was fun. We did a show there, and that was what spawned the Buy or Sell podcast that you'll also hear on Equitymates Media. That was a lot of fun doing FinFest. And really nice to meet some of the fans of CVE at FinFest too. I think we saw Fiona there. Shout out to you, Fiona. It's nice to meet you then, and appreciate all of your social media support. Any other highlights you can think of? Any intros that really you
No. The puns were painful mostly.
Yeah, they were getting harder to come up with by the end too. I was really starting to phone them in, I think, too, the last few weeks.
Hard. Yeah. No, I mean, you've done well to make what is. I mean, this is the thing about economics: is it is a pretty boring subject most of the time. Like economics is kind of interesting in the sense that it's like boring 95% of the time, and then for 5% of the time it's like super interesting and it's changing the whole world. And so when you're in that 5%, it's easy to talk about, and there's heaps of fodder, and there's lots to talk about. But for the most, it's kind of pretty dull, and economics has that reputation for a reason. And we've had a super interesting period. This COVID and post-COVID period has been really unusual and has had heaps of material, but it's naturally it's not comedy fodder. So I think you've done well to draw out the laughs that you've been able to draw out.
Yeah, thanks. You've done well to draw out each episode. I know my wife Anna in particular, who has started being a regular listener, often provides the feedback that sometimes Thomas can just go on a bit. But horses for courses. Sure, a lot of listeners really enjoy your deep analysis, but that's also where the cost comes in, right? Like being able to provide expert analysis takes an expert level of understanding and research, and that all just adds to the time and the cost of producing the show. So, I know that's something that you struggled with. So, You did want to share, Thomas, some final thoughts on the economics.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
It's just a few ideas that have been forming and just haven't ever got around to sort of setting down on paper. But like just thinking about what the challenge is with economics and coming up with an ideal system. I reckon one of the big challenges is how to harness human endeavor and human creativity. And to fix the world's problems and to make sure everyone enjoys a great standard of living requires people to be fully engaged in making a good contribution to the economy. At the moment, the solution to that problem is property rights. So you own stuff, you have a legally protected right to use that however you want in most cases. So, but the idea of property rights isn't a given. Like that's a human construct. That's something we came up with. If you make a thing, you can say that it's yours, and then the police will enforce your right to have it. It's not a given. We could have that as a different.
Most of my history is checkered with the police telling me that it's not my thing and that I have to give it away.
I have to give it back.
But I imagine it's quite the ideal scenario to have the police actually working for you, telling you that they're going to protect your things.
Yeah. So out of property rights comes endeavor, because like you can apply your human endeavor to create more stuff, which is then yours. And you can build a business, or you can build assets, or whatever it is. So out of that fundamental principle comes an ability to harness human endeavor. And free market capitalism, like one of the things that it does well is that it harnesses human endeavor, and it does that through this concept of property rights. But I don't know that it's the only solution, because then there does create sort of these other sort of structural problems. But yeah, so I wonder like if one day humanity will find another solution that harnesses human endeavor that doesn't involve property rights necessarily. But
what does that look like?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's classic economist stuff. You've come up with a problem, no solutions.
Well, no. So the critique of socialism, where you have limited property rights, is that you don't harness human endeavor. People don't get excited to apply themselves to their work because their earning potential is limited.
Yeah,
and then you have lackluster economies. I mean, that's the classic critique of socialism, right? You're not tapping. You're not inspiring people to work harder and work better and make more things happen. Yeah, but capitalism still has these problems, like we're kind of trashing the planet and all these sort of things. So the gold there in capitalism, what is doing well, is harnessing human endeavor. So we want to keep that. That feels like that's a good thing. Whether the current system based on property rights is the best way to achieve that, I don't know. But I think it's just interesting to sort of step back and go like, oh yeah, that does that well, but what else might inspire people to work hard and do their best and be innovative and invent new things?
Money.
Yes.
So I can buy things that I own. Well, then what is the motivation? I mean, what's the motivation for anything? You want to...
I mean, we've done this podcast for 5 years for very little money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess.
Made a limited contribution to the human story, but...
Yeah. Well, that's because you do it partly because you enjoy it, and I've enjoyed doing it with you, and it's a way for us to connect as brothers and kind of do something together, which has been good. Limited value, but good. But I think too, a lot of the time you throw yourself at these things because of the potential of what it could be, and the potential is often, like money, or maybe fame if that's what you're after.
Fame,
but
girls, drugs.
Which, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's right. There's always, humans are complex, and there's always a range of motivations behind any one behavior.
Yeah.
But money is not the only thing. Like I was never in this for the money.
No.
Yeah. I wouldn't have said no, but like.
Yeah. No, that's true. No, we did it for the love, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So could you imagine a human story where everyone's just doing everything for the love of it? It's difficult. It's very difficult to see that from here. And I also don't think that doesn't look like a promising avenue for harnessing human endeavor, trying to get everyone to love their job, cleaning
but the
public
whole
toilets or
society has to change, though, for that to happen. Like, and in the meantime, like, money is what you need to be able to do things, like to make positive change in the world. Like, you know, whether it's clean drinking water, whether it's homelessness, whatever it is, you know, the world's big problems. I don't know. You kind of, if you can generate enough money and direct it in the right areas, then you can kind of
it's very hard. It's very hard to
go
step
somewhere
out
to
of the
solving
system.
it anyway.
Yeah. When everyone's playing a particular game, it's very hard to just run your own story and step out of the game.
Yeah, so you almost need to like take the money out of the. It's more about the direction of the money and where the money goes and where it flows into, isn't it? Like, we need to stop letting the money go to huge corporations that are just benefiting shareholders or benefiting CEOs or whoever it is, and instead direct the money to where it could be used for more humanitarian purposes. Isn't that?
Yeah. So that sounds a lot like socialism, what you're describing there.
Right.
You know, which maybe that is the answer. But I was saying, like, what socialism sort of, the critique of it is that it doesn't harness human endeavor. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think there's limits to it. I mean, how much money do people need to be inspired? Like, is it $1 billion? Like, at some point it tapers off, right? Like, the motivational potential of an extra dollar is not monotonic across the income distribution. But yeah, which is, and then I think is the second question, I think. And like, because my wife Anna is an anthropologist, so you talk a lot about indigenous cultures, and then you look at other cultures around the world. Like, spend a bit of time like studying the Zutuhil people in Guatemala, and one of the things that these societies seem to do is it has mechanisms to prevent accumulation of resources beyond a certain point.
Right.
So indigenous cultures, you have defined relationships where certain people of certain relationships have a right to your things to a certain level.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, like with the Zutuhil people, it's like once you reach a certain income stream, you then take on a responsibility for certain spiritual practices within the community that chewed up a lot of your resources and brought you back to sort of the average level.
Right.
But I think one of the things one of the problems we have at the moment, my personal view, is that one of the rules of the game that we've set up, which again is just arbitrary, is that there is no limits to how much you can accumulate with your property rights. That they're completely unlimited. You can accumulate as much as you want.
Right.
But with that unlimited accumulation of resources comes accumulation of power. And you see whoever it is throughout history, the people who get to the top of the resource pile start rigging the game in order to create more resources for themselves.
Like Trump. And co.
Classic example. But, you know, but he's hardly the first person to do that.
Yeah. He's just the most egregious example of it.
Yeah.
It's the most flagrant kind of...
he's proud of it.
Yeah.
So that's the other. My sense is a sophisticated society has a mechanism for making sure that the income distribution doesn't get too out of whack, because that creates social problems. And so I feel like a stable society has some sort of system to stop things getting too out of control.
Yeah.
Now, classically at the moment, our response to that is taxes, but I don't know that, again, if that's a tool for that problem, but I don't know if it's the only tool.
It sounds like a can we learn nothing from the salary caps that they have in sport? Like, you know, like that's kind of what you're saying. And the reason that salary caps exist within the AFL and NRL and other places is because it's like, well, we don't really want to get to a point where you just have these huge clubs and teams that can just buy their way into, success. And so, and then become very hard to topple and get rid of from the top, because they just, with success comes more money. And so if you look at that as like sports leagues as like a microcosm of society, but then I don't know, you look at the Premier League where there's just unlimited money, but
is it still competitive?
I guess so, but it's still the big clubs at the top, you know. There's a few anomalies like Tottenham or whatever, but they got heaps of money, massive stadium, but don't really have the club success. Right, at least not in the Premier League. But Big Ange, won the European Cup. Didn't follow that story.
No.
Do you know who Big Ange is?
No idea.
No. That's like.
And this is why we're quitting.
Ange Postecoglou is an Australian soccer coach.
Okay.
You're familiar with soccer? Let's start there.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I've been watching that Welcome to Wrexham, which is a story of the Welsh football club that was bought by Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, the two Hollywood actors. I can't believe I have to explain this stuff. Like, I talk to anyone else and they're like, yeah, I know, I'll watch it, so you know the story. They bought a Welsh football club that's in like the English, let's call it the 4th division, and they've just basically poured money into it, and then it's now in the championship. So,
right, like went up 4 divisions.
Yeah. I don't know if it's 4, whatever. Yeah, so went up a bunch of divisions in quick succession. And really, it's just the injection. Like, it's a kind of feel-good story. It's this struggling club in a struggling town, mining town. You know, the whole community rallies around the club. The club's really important. And these guys come in and seem like they got good hearts about it. But at the same time, it's like we're just pouring money into this football club, and now we're getting success, which is great. Like, everyone benefits, the community benefits. But, I don't know. I don't know how we got there, but you could never work in general society though, right? Like, to your point, you can't have salary caps. You can't, could you set like a maximum wage?
People often talk about this. Like, people often say, like, just after $1 billion of wealth, there's 100% tax. Like, saying you just don't, no one needs more than $1 billion.
Right. Why don't we do that?
Because the people who set the rules...
Yeah, right. They are the billionaires.
Yeah, they're the billionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're wrapping up the show. You off to work on this problem?
Yes.
Starting a think tank?
Starting a think tank. Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, ideas don't matter, right? Like, exactly what you're saying. Like, I could come up with the best alternative economic system in the world that's ever been created. But if it doesn't involve the rich people getting richer, it's never going to get up. It's never going to fly. Yeah,
but that's true of everything. Ideas don't matter. Like, it's actions that matter. So you can have an idea. Like, you can't patent an idea, right? You might come up with an idea for, like, I don't know, like one of my mates decided that what would be really good is if you had like retractable PowerPoints in the walls. So you didn't have to have extension leads. You could just pull the PowerPoints. He didn't make one. He never built it. So I don't know. Maybe it would have been a winning idea. Maybe someone else has done it now. I got no idea. But you can't pay. So you have to take action. So, you know, it's a bit like the Track My Brown stuff. Like, I just kind of started that, and then it got some legs and it got some action. It didn't solve the world's problems. It didn't solve all the gambling problems in the world. It didn't solve a bunch of stuff, but it did do some good. And so that's a win. But you got to do something.
Yeah.
You should write a paper.
Yeah. That's what the world needs, more paper. I'm more saying, like, coming up with the idea is barely the start of it. Like, you'd need to build popular momentum and and a huge battle. Yeah. And I'm a bit busy. I've got a bit on.
As we've established, I'm a bit busy to overthrow the government, and Controls. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I hear you. We've all got a lot on.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now? Anything? I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, just, back to, keep chipping away at things, write some poetry, get back into that game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, grow some vegetables,
That's
maybe.
what the world needs.
Yeah.
I've got a genius economic mind. I could write a paper and start to try and generate some momentum and action in our political circles. Yeah, or write some poetry. Yeah. No, well, that's fine. You do whatever you like.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
What do you got planned? You got write some poetry too?
I might dabble in some poetry. We'll see. No, I don't know. I don't know. I just want to be honest, I want to spend some more time with the family and not be distracted by trying to edit a podcast video on the weekend or create social media stuff, or just have that feeling like I've got to do this thing on top of my day job, which is quite busy. So no, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to getting some headspace back. And then after that, I don't know. I might start an AI company or something, sell it for like billions of dollars. I don't know what it'll do.
I don't know why more people don't do that, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I've no idea. I don't have an idea for what the company will do yet, but I figure I can ask AI that too and just go like, hey, I want to start an AI company. There were some stories that this guy just rejected Meta's bid for $32 billion for his company that he started like a year ago.
Wow.
So 32, how can you start a company and in a year it's worth 32 billion?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Zuckerberg got angry and he's like, oh, so he was like affronted that this guy wouldn't sell his AI company to Mark Zuckerberg. So he went and found the investors who were the biggest investors in the AI company and bought them.
Wow.
So now he owns the majority stake in the company because he bought the investors who owned the majority stake in the company. And I think Sam Altman was like, this is a pretty aggressive move. Yeah, I don't know. No, beyond that, I don't know. Might do some home automation. I got some motion sensors that need some addressing. They've just been wallowing in. I've been having to check the mailbox, Thomas, like a Neanderthal, having to walk out there and know when there's mail. Instead of Home Assistant telling me you have mail. So things like that have been neglected. So I might get onto that, which Anna will be thrilled about. She loves automating the home, taking antiquated solutions like light switches and turning them into voice commands. So yeah, no, I don't know. No, so that's it. All right, let's wrap it up. Yeah, once again, I just want to say like a huge thank you to everyone for tuning in. It has meant a lot. This definitely will be the last time that we talk to you. I mean, unless you call. But huge thank you. Big shout out to Tommy if he's listening. Tommy and the family up in Queensland. That was a highlight. That was an amazing moment. Just to know that we're connecting, with lots of people and connecting in different ways, and that meant something to Tommy was pretty amazing. So that's awesome. Yeah. So other than that, maybe send us an email if you've enjoyed the show. CVE@equitymates.com. That'd be great. Like, we'd just love a little memento for us as a time capsule thing, whatever you want to call it, keepsake. Yeah, if you've enjoyed it, any highlights you can think of, anything that, even just share a thank you or what the show's meant to you, that'd be really great. But other than that, I think that's it. You got any final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I do appreciate everyone who's listened and come along with the journey. That has been what's kept us going. So appreciate everyone taking the time to tune into us.
Yeah, nice. And thank you, Thomas, on a personal note. Thank you for your participation in the show 186 episodes. Yeah, like unreal. We started this during COVID. I think it's been a really important and really good way for us to stay connected. So, yeah, I guess I'll just see you at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the part of the challenge too, is when Thomas and I have to do this remotely. We're in different geographic locations, so being online feels a little bit harder as well somehow. But anyway, all right, we're going on way too long. This was supposed to be a fairly quick thank you and goodbye. That's it. Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for everything, and take care of yourselves, look after each other, and good luck with everything in the future. It's bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Comedian V Economist is a product of Equity Mates Media. All information in this podcast is for education and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional finance, legal, or tax advice. The hosts of Comedian V Economist are not financial professionals and are not aware of your personal financial circumstances. Before making any financial decisions, you should read the product disclosure statement and, if necessary, consult a licensed financial professional. Do not take financial advice from a podcast. For more information, head to the disclaimer page on the Equity Mates website, where you can find ASIC resources and find a registered financial professional near you. In the spirit of reconciliation, Equity Mates Media and the hosts of Comedian V Economist acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people today.
All right, you good?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't know if what I got to say is interesting. Let's not.
It's a bit late for that revelation. We've just started recording. You were pretty gung-ho about it yesterday when you were planning the show.
Yeah, I thought I'd have more time to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just didn't pan out.
Oh, well, you did your best. You did your best with the one job that you had, was to come up with some data and interesting insights while I did everything else.
I was just feeling emotional because it's our last show.